Well, hello and welcome and welcome and hello. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting live edition of Un Poco Moss. Guys, I have been very busy. Sorry I haven't been with you in the last couple of days. Of course, if the day ends in a Y, it's DannyDealz for Hurricane Lopez, all that good stuff. It's Un Poco Moss. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit more. Um, I don't know if that's been too effective of late, but in any case, guys, I want to talk SoFi. Of course, we have only one day left until the ER comes out, pre-market Monday. Um, God, this has just been an absolutely rough market. It seems like whenever SoFi might catch a break and rally might be gaining some momentum in the popular imagination with the media, with the analysts. You saw some really good upgrades and stuff coming out, like Bank of America. You saw some really top analysts. Still have SoFi rated the $15, $16 level. I mean, think about guys. You could have bought today. This is the first day I was buying. I was buying the SoFi stock heavily today at the 682, 683 area. I bought a lot, and I scooped up some leaps that were just down, and I'm gonna explain to you guys exactly why. Guys, I have to keep this one short, so I'm just gonna just. This is so basic. I mean, it's almost criminal that I have to point this out because I'm just some boob online, but here, look at this, guys. Okay, so everyone's just, oh my god, the sky is falling. Oh, I have to sell my shares. NTM, NTM. Like, guys, nothing has happened. This is all mechanics. Okay, so here we are on 10/18. Okay, the stock was at $8.25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago. Now here we are at 690. Oh, can't you see? Anyway, guys, we don't need to get into my singing repertoire. It's 690. So the stock's gone down $1.35 in 7 trading days. Now let's just scamper on over and look at what they've been borrowing, guys. Here is the overview of the short, just a snapshot of it. This is 7 day change, okay? 7 days ago. The shares on loan have gone up in those 7 days, the same 7 days the stock went from 825 down to 680 or whatever it was today. Okay, the shares on loan have gone up 10 million or 11% in just those days. Days to cover have gone up 13%. That's a critical number to look at because that tells you what can happen to the short in the real world. As volume picks up, that can get a little bit shorter because it's volume dependent, but um, I don't know exactly. Every site you look at is a little bit different, but I think Ortex is by far the best with a short interest. In any case, days to cover up 13% in those 7 days. Look at this, guys. Days to cover just in September was 1.4. Days to cover right now is all the way up near 3.06, in fact. And the short is holding strong at 13% of the free float, 94 million shares. Utilization in the last 7 days also up 12.31%. So you have to look at it from that context, guys. How many shares have actually been traded in this catastrophic drop? Everybody's bailing out. And notice it's a nice, very controlled 45-degree angle. Notice this triple bottom. Notice them beating the hell out of my channel. Why does everybody want to beat up my channel? Not this channel, but my pink dotted channel there. So guys, let's just say in those 7 days, 30 million shares traded a day. Okay, that's 210 million total. Now 10 million were borrowed. Divide by 210, 4.76% of the entire churn was borrowed, net borrowed. So I mean, it's not like this is just retail decides all of a sudden I'm going to sell off at 8. We haven't heard about institution sellings and minor hedge fund sales. So what is this, guys? This is what's been going on for so long. It's shorts driving the price up and down and making money off emotional paper-handed retail investors because that's what the whole goddamn market's all about. Guys, I got about 15 minutes, so I have a whole bunch of graffiti, you know, absolutely disorganized, just idiotic notes on my whiteboard that I'm going to share with you if you're lucky, if you're good. Noto clause. What's going on, Bam? Um, yeah, all of our SoFi positions getting rocked. Don't worry. You're in the channel. It's gonna go back up. This stock is, it goes up and down, and it has been going up and down. But net profit in any stock changes quite a bit, and we're gonna see that. Yeah, I bought today also, M. Russo. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd love to buy the low fives and high fours. That's when I was buying too. But this was the first day since then, Bam, that I bought heavily because I just feel like it's too low. Um, I don't feel like we've actually fallen out of this channel. I know we're slightly below it, guys, but they've shorted the bejesus out of the stock. Like, and the longs are just hedging like hell with their short positions. So it's the same thing. It just puts downward pressure on the stock just day after day after day. And this is of the churn, guys. 5% of the churn is net borrowed shares the last 7 trading days. What do you think's going to happen to the stock? It's like retail investors is like a fire brigade of the lollipop guild with like little Dixie cups, and they're trying to put out a raging fire. And the market makers and the shorts and the hedge funds, they're just spraying gasoline like some, maniacal psycho with a gas pump. Just spraying gasoline all over this fire. And we're here with the lollipop guild, like with our little, you know, we represent the firefighters, the fire, and we're just tossing little tiny Dixie cups of water while they're just spraying gasoline, just torching the whole thing. Like they've got a flamethrower. We've got a Dixie cup. That's why retail, we cannot fight these guys. We just have to take what they give us. If we have a fastball pitcher who's just overpowering us with their fastball, we choke up and we go oppie. We choke up and we go oppie. We don't try to fight these guys. And that's what I'm talking about here today, guys. If you want to trade this thing, people like, you flipped last time, you didn't say what you do. Okay, guys, here's what you do. Is it a pump and dump? Is it a dump and pump? Are they going to push it up tomorrow to 750, which is, max pain? Probably not. But might they push it a little bit over 7? Probably. I don't think they're going to push it much down going into the ER. I don't think they want to short this thing much deeper. But maximum pain right now is at $7.50. You guys can see the calls and the puts. You can see this graphically. You can see it in dollars and cents. What the changes are, I recommend MaximumPain.com. If it's a very, very easy way to understand what people mean by the term maximum pain, and it's actually not complicated at all. If you look at it and sort of see what happens, they explain it like 4 different ways with numbers, with graphs, 5 different ways. So very, very easy. But guys, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. Keep cash. Don't be broke all the time. Don't push all your bankroll in every single week. Buy stocks once in a while and keep cash. If you want to trade something around earnings, you have to have cash on hand because you don't know what's going to happen, and neither do I. So stop worrying if it's a dump and pump, and stop worrying if it's a pump and dump, and just understand you're going to have extreme volatility. Take advantage of that volatility by being disciplined. Okay? If you want to trade it, understand what range you're willing to trade. Since last ER, we've gone down to like 7, and we were up to what, 1160 or something on the pump. So you might say my expected range, if this ER looks, like a lot of us are expecting it to look, like it always looks, solid, like a nice base hit, possibly a double. We're not expecting a home run because Noto doesn't usually give us a home run, and that's just, the way that it is. But what I'm saying is don't trade the order of things, trade your prices. So if it pumps and it goes up to 11 and you think that's a ridiculously high price for the SoFi stock, personally I don't. It would be against my religion to short SoFi, so I'm not going to short SoFi, and I'm not even really trading the CR. I think it's too close to gap net profit. Now, if they do some insane 20, 30% pump and the ER is like not really that good, yeah, I'll flip some shares. I mean, same thing I did last time. When I see irrational, mechanical, created false moves in a stock up or down, I take advantage and I make money, and that's what you guys should be doing. But if you think the range for that stock is going to be, whether it's SoFi or anything else, okay, if you think that range is going to be something like, 10 to 675. If it goes to 10 first and you want to trade, short it there and put your buyback at 7. Okay, cover at 7. If they dump it and it goes to 6, you know, buy at 6 and decide you're either going to sell at 8 or you're going to short at 9 or whatever you're going to do. Or maybe you come to your senses if it goes to 6 and you just buy those shares and you just hold them long term and you stop trading like a hamster on crack. But that's your choice. But what I'm saying is, none of us can control the order of things, guys. We're not the market makers. Now, looking at this, I think they're going to run a pump and dump. I think this thing has to move up tomorrow. I think these shorts, have their noses wide open. And you notice that Anthony Noto never wears a hat because his hair is always perfect, like that werewolf in London. Um, Maybe he's got that hat set aside. Maybe he's got a rabbit up that hat. Noto always looks confident. He always has a smirk, like he knows just a little bit more. Like he's not so robotic. He's not so predictable. Um, like he knows more than he's letting on. Guys, I don't want you to think I'm, bougie or whatever, but I had this Pellegrino sparkling water, not my usual tap, and oh God, do I feel like a old money with that plastic bottle of Pellegrino I got from Smart and Final. Anyway, guys, so that's what I'm saying is, if you're going to trade, you have to have ammo. You have to have money. You can't trade with all your money in the market when you don't know what's going to happen. You have to measure things. You can't get too excited and, oh, you're not a virgin on prom night, guys. Act like you've been there before. Have a bankroll, have a plan. Like, know how you're going to trade it. That way, when things happen super fast in the morning on Monday, you know what you're going to do. You can have your orders in. Like, if you're going to be a trader, you can't trade with no bankroll, and you can't, just assume you know what's going to happen. I mean, I drew this red X up here, and God, is that way off? I mean, but like I said, it's still where it's been. It's people like, okay, it closed the gap to this turtle dove push. I don't think that really makes any difference, guys. Be like, oh, it's gotta fall back to here. It's gonna fall back to 594. It's gonna close this gap. It doesn't have to do anything. It's going to do whatever the money, whatever the market makers, whatever the options traders, whatever the institutions and the pension funds and the people with a ton of money to speculate with and push stocks around with decide to do. Us Dixie Cup Fire Brigade, we have to get our heads on straight. We don't control things. The market is not evil or good. It's not our friend or our enemy. It's not manipulated or fair. It just does what it does. Your job is not to reason why. Your job is just to do or die. Your job is to buy low and sell high. That's it. That's all I'm asking you turds to do, and you can get rich in the stock market. But what do I hear? Bunch of excuses, a bunch of complaints about how the market's not fair. The market's fair. Yes, there's a lot of computers trading it. Yes, the algorithmic trading looks very strange at times, and it makes stocks do things, and it allows Wall Street and hedge funds to make a bunch of money. Guys, I have like 5 more minutes left in this live stream, and I wanted to talk about the damn narrative. I always want to talk about the narrative. The narrative doesn't fit the narrative. The profile doesn't fit the profile. Remember when Sandy Bullock, America's Sweetheart, said that in a great film called Murder by the Numbers? Just fit the profile. Is anybody here? Does anybody have anything remotely interesting to say? What's up? Yes, fancy boy, fancy boy. I want 50% dump, 20% downside. Okay, fair enough. I'm a Virginia at prom. Yeah, well, no crime in that. I'll be honest, I bought puts here on earnings. Hopefully I don't need, yeah, I mean, no one can blame you for hedging. The stock's a freaking buck and bronco. It's like, for something so consistent and predictable and usually has mild beats, it moves around 20, 40%, and then it just dropped from, 11, was this $11.60, 11.70, whatever it went up to. That was just the 31st of July, folks. This is not even 3 months ago. It's like, I mean, look at the stock now for no. I know the macro's bad, guys. I know the macro's bad. Don't. Okay, I want to talk narrative. I want to get to my whiteboard. There's just so much to say, guys. People are like, what's going to happen? Of course, I don't know. Um, Noto could, if Noto pulls a rabbit out of his hat, guys, the shorts are in huge, huge trouble. I don't see that happening, but when I saw the deposit growth, last quarter and I saw the membership growth, I was like, we're not there yet, but we're reaching that critical mass. We're reaching that critical mass. And Noto just keeps winning, guys. Buy the dips. Adam DeMonico's absolutely right. Payush! Payush the Punisher. Payush! I'm glad to see so many of you guys here, guys. I only have about 8 minutes left in this live stream. I have to get to an extremely important meeting. I do have jobs due. I do have to make some of this money. I shove into the market like a madman at the poker table. Memphis in the house. What's going on? Payush the Punisher, the Big P they call him. Dude, if you're in a bar fight and your back's against the wall and all you have is a broken pool cue, perhaps half of a Coors Light, the guy you want behind you with a small knife or some type, Payush is that guy. It reminds me of that. Anyway, I don't have time to get into movies, guys. I want to get into my whiteboard. Look at the narrative. If you're trying to trade, look carefully at the narrative. It's easy to shape with a few headlines. I'm going to hold my microphone, guys, because people complain they can't hear me. Let me see how my levels are. Let me check my levels. Check my levels. Anyway, guys, I want to go to the whiteboard. I've gone over the trading range. Order doesn't matter. Just know where you're going to buy and where you're going to sell. And if it gets to the top first and you don't have anything to dump, short. If you think it's absurdly overvalued and the 20-25% run won't hold, go ahead and short it. Basically, the narrative is easy to shape with a few headlines. If it's going to be a dump, they're going to be looking at stock-based compensation, bad earnings per share. They're going to be going on about defaults. They're going to be saying Galileo's a flop, the FUD story, the macro. They're going to be looking at general disarray, and they're going to be using a constantly moving goalpost. If SoFi is doing well in the high interest rates, and the net interest income being like a bank is helping them, they'll treat them like a fintech, and they'll go, look at this French payment processor. SoFi is not a French payment processor. They don't make baguettes. They're not making escargot, but they're like, oh, this is a good reason to hit SoFi. And SoFi's not even going down. Nobody's selling the stock. They're just shorting it. It's a bunch of bullshit, guys. Bunch of bullshit. Anyway, let's go to the whiteboard. I want to settle. Guys, settle down. Let's go to the whiteboard. So if it's good, if it's a pump, they're going to be talking deposit growth. They're going to be talking member growth. They're going to be talking new loan originations. They're going to be talking guidance. We have to break this EBITDA plateau. And I'm telling you guys, how do we get, I want to see it at worst a 5-cent loss, guys. I can't tolerate another 7-cent loss because I don't think we can get there to profit. I don't see it. Now, what's the path? Sorry, guys. I'm not really set up to look at my whiteboard. It's a horrible system. I don't know if anybody's still here. Is this thing still streaming? I have no idea what the hell just happened. Hey, guys, is anybody still here? I don't know if the stream stopped. Something happened on my computer. It seems like you guys are still here. Anyway, yeah, not a lurker. Okay, thanks. So guys, I have like 5 more minutes and I just want to get through my whiteboard. So to get to that gap net profit, here's what we need to see. To get from 5-cent loss to even, basically we need to make almost 50 million more dollars because there's like almost a billion shares of freaking SoFi. Go figure. Yeah, I got some far outputs. Yeah. I mean, that's smart, man. I'm all highway. I don't usually hedge. I don't usually do anything, but that's a smart man. I mean, this is a very volatile stock, and if you're not up for taking a huge loss, you have to hedge. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're probably right, Piner. I mean, whether they pump it first and then attack it, or just attack it right out of the gate, or whether it's just the macro and people just say the earnings not that good and they decide to sell off, I would not be surprised if it goes down. Piner 74, you're a total downer, but you're probably right. You probably hear that a lot at parties, like, hey, this guy is total downer, but he's very intelligent. Maybe go talk to him. My cousin Norma is also looking for someone. Guys, I have 4 minutes. If anybody wants to discuss anything specific, please put it in the comments. Post haste. So basically, the narrative will be formed. Whatever bad characteristics, they'll attribute it to SoFi. Like they'll say, well, it should be valued like a bank. It shouldn't get any valuation for growth, but they won't attribute the fact that high rates have a lot of good in them for banks. The high rates have been very, very good for SoFi, but they try to frame that as a negative too. So value us as a bank, only emphasize the negative. And the fintech aspects, they ignore the parts that SoFi does well, and they're like, okay, payment processing is getting hit. Well, SoFi is not really a payment processor. Um, SoFi has to break the EPS plateau, the EBITDA plateau. They were at zero, then they went to 40 million, then it was like 70, 71, 70. So we've basically been stuck for 3 quarters. I can't have it, guys. I mean, the growth story does not work that way. That's not a story with a happy ending. That's not a bedtime story that puts you to sleep and you have good dreams. This story, I don't want to go to sleep and have nightmares about the SoFi growth story. I don't want Noto, to be a spooky monster in the woods. I want him to be, an approachable, guy who's, it's like a guy you can trust. And I believe he is, but, people here are right. The macro is, yeah, SoFi just raised to 4.6 APY. Very, very good. Bringing in more customers. Again, I don't even know why they kept talking so much about net profit in Q4. I know that's good. The market wants to hear that, but I'm far more interested in this extremely rapid deposit growth. I mean, that's the narrative for me. Notice they always are changing the goalpost on how SoFi is doing. That's what I mean. Value them. If fintechs are getting nailed, they want to nail SoFi as a fintech, even though they're really a hybrid type company. And if banks are getting nailed, they want to nail SoFi as a bank. If interest rates are high, they want to say high interest rates are bad for SoFi, even though that's not true. If loans are starting to go bad with other companies, they want to say that's going to make SoFi's loans go bad, even though we haven't seen evidence of that. Um, if high bond yields are, Catfish did a very good video the other day, show in one of his live streams. He was basically tracking so some metrics with SoFi with bond yields, and it was like going up together. So, and I don't really think SoFi investors or SoFi savers, a lot of young people, most young people just don't invest in bonds. It's not as exciting. I mean, let's face it. So I don't think bond yields are really hitting SoFi. Yes, they're hitting the overall market and they're sucking money out of the market, and that's bad for SoFi stock. I do know that, but I'm saying over the long term, the stock's going to be just fine. What's it going to do after earnings? I really need to see some institutions come into the stock when they put out the filings this quarter. If I'm not seeing there was a whole ton of institutional buyers, but at least it needs to be net positive, because if not, we can easily see the stock, during Q4 be back down, below this range, which obviously none of us want to see that. But, remember last time it ran down to 5 and then, popped up to 10 in like 30 days. So there's still, 3 more months until we hopefully hear that reported gap net profit. So the market makers can swing this thing $10 in those 3 months if they wanted to. Hell, they could move it $5 in 30 days. They can move it up or down tomorrow just as much as they want. But again, guys, don't be afraid of this dip from 825 to 690. If anything, look at it like I did and just buy the shit out of it today. Like I said, I was buying 682. I felt that was a very good point for me. I think earnings are not going to be that bad. I don't think they're going to show all this weakness. Anything else I can cover from the big white board? It says Turds. It says I love Princess J, which we know. It says Cutie Strong. It says Un Poco Mas. But again, to get from a $50 billion loss to a net profit on a gap basis, the personal loans have to hold up. Student loans have to be up. We should be seeing something out of home loans. We should be seeing more revenues and profits out of Galileo. Financial services obviously needs to be gap net profitable in the contribution profit. So that would mean all three sides of the company making contribution profit. Remember, guys, SoFi has plenty of cash. SoFi, JS, that's the only one I was buying today. I was buying the holy hell out of it. I might buy some Jaguar Health, but that's because I'm a moron. Anyway, guys, I have like 2 more minutes in this live stream. Thanks. Yeah, nobody buys fucking bonds. I completely agree with you. Maybe Asian billionaires, and even them. I see them in Vegas. They give them the lucky colors, like a little guy with glasses. You're just like, man, that's a tall, beautiful woman with that small Asian gentleman. And he's like, he's a billionaire. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, all the way up, nobody buys bonds, JS, sell-offs, just market. Yeah, it's everything's selling off. But I mean, the other fintechs weren't selling off quite this much today. Not this hard. I'm not at this little 45 down angle. This is algos, guys. the algos have been in charge of the stock for like the last, 2 years. Ever since the SPAC mania, that money, that balloon deflated, there's been, like I said, our Dixie Cup Fire Brigade of retail investors just cannot fight, these monsters. We cannot fight these big, scary monsters with flamethrowers and huge cans of gasoline with our Dixie Cups. We just have to go with the flow. Learn to stop fighting things we can't control, identify the pattern, use your brain, and take advantage of what they're giving you. That's all you have to do to win in the stock market and to get wealthy. Is just buy low, sell high, pay attention, don't get emotional. That's all there is to it, guys. Alberto Bertie Evelis, let's buy below 9. Yeah, I mean, yeah, below 9. Buying today below 7, my man. So double down. Double down saloon. Not a lurker. Best time to buy SoFi is whenever. Yeah, buy the fear, JS. I mean, that's what Buffett says. Buy the fear. Do the opposite. Be a contrarian better. Bet don't pass. Buy the fear. Do it. UB Crew Bagel Familia. Suburban Fat White Gangster Mafia in the house. Aiming for 10K shares over time. Yeah, I have 10K times. I have many shares. I have a plethora of shares and a plethora of pinatas. I got to run, guys. Got to go. Once it gets net profit, institutional buying was right, because then that's when the volatility will stop, and that's the only way it'll stop. When we have like 50 plus, hopefully 60 plus percent institutional investors, 7-8% insider, and then retail can jerk off around the margins, and our emotions will not get in the way of the stock finally getting on the trajectory it needs to be on. Student loans are back, but we have to see, did we get anything in Q3? I think we're going to do very well there in Q4. Guys, I hope you have a great day. It's October 20. If you're watching this on a rerun, for my friends overseas, it's 10/26/2023. The time is 2:49 p.m. The stock is up one little penny after hours to $6.91. Just have to see what it does tomorrow. ER's incoming, guys. Hope you guys have a great night. It's great to see you. It's not turdial. It is turdial advice. It's not financial advice. Let me give you some advice, guys. Listen. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. That's all you have to do. Listen to your grandfather. Buy low, sell high. What are you, stupid? What are you, stupid or something? Listen to your sister. Guys, have a great night.